folks, Aaron here. Welcome back to day 5 of the 12 days of anime. Now today I wanted to talk about a particular series. By the way, I'm talking a little quieter because it's kind of late at night and I'm about to pass out. I'm exhausted. But one series I want to talk about specifically is one of my, I want to say, favorite anime, not in terms of it ever reaches the top 10 for me, but there's something about it that I could watch it, rewatch it a lot of times and still find enjoyment over and over again. And I love a lot of the spin-offs. I tend to watch almost all the spin-offs. I've played almost all the games, at least tried them at least once. And that would be the Fate Stay Night series. Now, this in particular is the original Fate Stay Night series, the one based off the visual novel. And if, in case you guys didn't know, Fate Stay Night is based originally off of the Ergo visual novel that was actually like H-rated. It was basically almost like a hentai in some ways. And what they did was end up changing it a lot and made it to a more, I want to say, wider range of audience. Then they changed it again to make it an anime. And then the anime got very popular. They started making spin-offs, and Type Moon went everywhere with it. Like Fate Stay Night became movies. Obviously, this is that's not the that's not the movie. Limited Play Works. This is the movie, and they made the new series of movies that came out. Heaven's Feel, for example. There's the spin-off series Fate Zero. There's Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, the series, which is not based off the movie. It's a whole different thing entirely. You have Fate. Was it Fate Last Encore? And then just a lot of Fates. The Fate Kaleidoscope series, which I can't stand. The one that's really strange and just butchers everything. All that is about Fate. But you know, Fate is one of those series that I love every single one for in some form or another. I have a lot of, I want to say, gripes about some of the newer ones. Like Fate Last Encore was not that great. Fate Extra, as it is really supposed to be called, had stuff that worked for it, and it was based off the game, loosely based off the game, but it butchered a lot of stuff that I loved about the game because the game was phenomenal. Like, I mean, the fighting system of the game was like a rock, paper, scissors type turn-based combat, but it was still a fun game. I still enjoyed the shit out of it. The thing was that the the series, the 10-episode series, it took a lot of liberties with the game and it made like a own spin-off version of the story and kind of went with more of the newer games that come out too. The problem was is that it worked in terms of story. It's not a horrible story, but it felt very episodic in a bad way, and also just felt like every episode was, oh, this is the baddie of the week. And it got really tedious to watch a lot of the fights because a lot of the fights weren't as interesting as like the Fate Stay Night series, where you know these different characters, you know, Archer, you know, Caster, etc. These were characters you cared to watch fight against other people. You cared to see how they went up against Shiro and Saber, and just Kogamine. The fact that he was like one of these badass villains per se, even though there's an ulterior motive if you learn from Fate Zero to him. These are characters that all resonate really well together, especially when they're in the show. And then you have the spin-off series, which tend to butcher them slightly because they change, obviously, things about them and do this whole thing where they have to change the story dramatically for different purposes, which is understandable. I mean, it's a spin-off, you know, you're not supposed to do the exact same story as the main series, but it ends up creating what I feel like is a lackluster version of the story, and just it takes a lot of liberties with things and not always the best way. Like a series I don't mind too much is that Shiro Emiya show that came out where it's more just relaxed. It's like a slice of life where they just do cooking stuff and all that. I don't mind that show because it's very relaxing. It's meant to be a kind of homage to all the Fate shows because it has a lot of the characters show up as friends and family members. They don't really fight. They just all talk and have fun and hang out a lot. It's very mellow and just calming. And it works really well at the show because it knows that it's not trying to be a Fate series, like a legitimate Fate series, but it has a lot of the Fate characters that you know and love, and it doesn't really butcher them too much. It shows them in more relaxed situations versus, you know, the intense combat of the Holy Grail War. But the thing is that the Fate Stay Night series, it's, yeah, like I said before, it's something that I'm very critical of because I love the original one. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings with the original one. There's a lot of things where they hate Shiro, you know, because he's someone who's very into saving people, and I always say he's one of the characters I resonate the most with in terms of like an anime character because I'm very similar to Shiro, where I tend to forego myself a lot. I know I get a lot of flack from my friends because of this, because I focus not on myself a lot or enough. I tend to focus on other people and try to help other people as much as I can. I'll spend hours, you know, talking to people if they need help with something, or in general. I kind of forego my own sleep because sometimes someone will call me on the phone late at night and I'll talk to them. And this is a lot of people. This is not just one or two people. I have this with several people that do this. And it's not like I'm saying I dislike that they do. I'm glad they confide in me and feel that I'm someone comfortable enough to talk to and to get advice from. But, it's something where I understand Shiro's pain of, he doesn't care about himself. He wants to help others. And that makes him the hero of the story. And that's why I've always cared about Shiro, because I'm like, I get that. I understand your pain, Shiro. I understand why sometimes people hate that you don't stop and go, hey, listen, you are yourself. You have to worry about yourself sometimes. I get that. But the thing is the first original series was so fun because it was just great action. Animation was not too bad, especially back when it came out in like 2000. I think was it 7 or 8 when it first came out. So it wasn't. I don't think it was Ufotable's best stuff, but it was very well done. It had some great animation, great style to it, and just great work in general. The later series like Fate Zero, the stuff that started becoming prequels and sequels, etc., they all were just phenomenal in terms of visuals. Their visuals are on par with some of the best stuff that you see from anime movies, but a lot of them just don't have that same great character work. Like, it doesn't have the characters that I love so much from the Fate Stay Night, the original one. It doesn't have that same greatness to it. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, the series, and even the movie, very well done. That's probably my exception to the whole spin-offs slash, nuanced tellings, because a lot of them are based off of like different roots in the visual novel. So it's like, for example, I think the main one focuses just on the true ending of the story, and then the other ones focus on various character endings that Shiro meets with. Like Fate Unlimited Blade Works, the movie, not the series, but the movie, focuses on Rin's ending of the visual novel, and what if Shiro went with Rin to, learn the magic at the academy and all that stuff. And I love that story. I think it's really well done. And I think the Unlimited Blade Works series focuses on, I believe, another twisted version of Shiro's ending. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. If you leave in the comments below, because I always forget to research that. I always forget the exact way it's ending, because there's a lot of endings for Fate Stay Night. But the thing is that I've always loved that about the series, where it knows how to do things. Or Fate Unlimited Blade Works knows that, okay, we need to make it just like the original one in many ways. They have the same characters, they have a lot of the same concept, the same story, but it goes in different ways. It goes with more emphasis on characters more than like Fate Zero. Fate Zero is really more about the specific character. It's really focused on Shiro's quote unquote father, and it focuses on his story. It focuses on the world around him, even though he's not always the main character. He's still the main focus at a lot of times, and I love that about it. Fate Zero is considered to me one of the best Fates to come out, but it's not like Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, or even the original one, where Shiro is the main character, but there's also this world building of characters. You get to see a lot of the characters fight one another. You get to see a lot of the reasons why they're fighting, why even now they decide to even enter the Grail War, because a lot of them could decide just to turn on their masters and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna fight. They could. And it would take a command seal to make them obey them, but at the same time you only have 3, so it's like they can't constantly keep doing that. But a lot of them stay with their masters because they know they're a source of energy, and there's also they're usable. They can use them for the ability to come into the world and actually interact with things and fight against the people they need to fight. It's just, there's such great storytelling to Fate series. It's one of the best things about the whole concept of the whole world of the Fate series is just awesome because of that. The Fate games, I'll briefly talk about that, because it's 12 days of anime, so I don't want to go too much into the games. I have a lot of mixed feelings with the games. Last on, or Extra as it's called in terms of games, I really loved. Fate Stay Night, I think it was just Unlimited Blade Works, the fighting game, really well done fighting game. Not perfect, but very well done. Came out on the PSP, by the way, in case you guys didn't know that. And then they have what I believe one of the Fates, the Fate Stay Night phone game, which is Last Encore. That's the Last Encore. That one's not too bad. I really don't think it's that great. I know people love it. They play it nonstop. I'm probably gonna get some hate for not liking it as much as I should. I did play it, guys. I don't say it's bad. It's not bad. I'm just not a big mobile gamer. Like, I do play some phone games, but I'm not really someone that gets really into them. I know why people get addicted to it, because even when I played it for the short time I did play it, I was constantly trying to unlock characters and trying to, grind my way to get cooler characters and see if I get specific characters. Like, I wanted new sabers, I wanted new versions of, Archer, etc. I wanted those characters. So I did play the hell out of it when I did have it, but I eventually just kind of went, I'm kind of tired of it because it's a phone game. I'd rather play my consoles, to be honest with you. And then they have I forget what it's called, Fate Extella, which is I won't say Dynasty Warriors like fighting game, but it's very similar to Dynasty Warriors. That's not bad. It's based off of extra storyline, but I feel like it loses a lot of the enjoyability of what made the Fate Extra game so good, because Fate Extra was a turn-based battle game, which it worked really well because of just the concept of it. It was like a lot, the rock paper scissors stuff didn't work perfectly, but it was very enjoyable to try to figure out how an enemy was going to play attack. Like, oh, are they going to go for the same attack I'm going to go for? It felt random at times, but also felt like you could use some strategy to figure out what would work best. And a lot of times the characters would use the same kind of concept, so you knew what they would try to focus on. Like Lancer would be a character who would constantly try to attack you and then throw in occasional defense moves to make it where you miss them if you try to do it. So there was ways of getting around it. You learned as you play the game. It wasn't always random as a lot of people think. There was some strategy to have, but it was a fun game. It was something that I really enjoyed the hell out of. I played it from beginning to end almost in like a whole weekend. I couldn't stop playing it. Fate Extella I played for a while, and I was like, yeah, I'm tired of constant button mashing to kill like hundreds of enemies on screen. I got tired of it. I love Dynasty Warriors. I'm one of the biggest fans of Dynasty Warriors. So for me to say that, it's like, and then the phone game, like I said before, it's a phone game. It's really well done. I can see why people still play the shit out of it, but I don't get into phone games that much. I think the most I've ever played a phone game is Honkai Impact, which I definitely recommend checking that out. Even though this is not part of the video, I'm not sponsored by them. I have done a lot of reviews and stuff for Honkai Impact, and I love that series. I think it's a great game. It's just awesome. But overall, though, Fate is definitely one of those things that I think I originally remember trying to get it because I couldn't find it. Like, it took me forever to buy the series. When I finally bought it, I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy. I sat down, I popped in the DVDs. I actually have the original DVDs for it. I bought this for $5. I kid you not, $5. It's the whole original series. And then the Blu-rays came out and they were at $5 each. I was like, why not? I'll get both of them. Blu-rays slightly increased quality, not that much, but slightly increased. I rewatched it on Blu-ray. I then watched the movie again. I watched the movie not that long ago. I want to watch the new Heaven's Feel movies, but I want to actually own them, if that makes sense. I want to buy them. Very expensive. I mean, it's Aniplex, so Aniplex. I sigh when I say Aniplex, but I do want to get them. But overall, it's Fate is one of those stories that I think it's just. I kind of wish there was more light novels for it. I wish that they make light novels, because I feel like the Fate lore can be so well done in a novel format. But the question I'm going to end the video on with you guys is, what do you like or dislike about the Fate series? It's kind of just very, very simple question for you guys today. Do you love the Fate series as much as I do? Do you hate it? Do you feel a middle ground towards it? Just let me know in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys later. I will see you for day 6 of the 12 days of anime. Have a good one, everyone. God bless you all. Bye-bye.